Hey everybody, it's time for T-shirt on the team. T-shirt on the team. T-shirt on the team. T-shirt on the team. How's everybody doing? Happy Tuesday. I am here for Empire Season 6, Episode 2. So, yeah. Episode was kind of all over the place. It was an interesting episode nonetheless. So it starts off with Billy Beretti. I think his name was Billy. And I guess his house went up for bankruptcy. So it flashback to him and Lucius having a conversation about money or whatever for his artist, and Lucius is like, I'm not paying you a dime. Beretti's like, you pretty much stole my artists and signed them behind my back or whatever. All I'm doing is asking you for money to help me out and get back on my feet. And he's like, nope, you ain't getting no money. All you getting is the plaque. So deal with that. So Beretti is looking at the plaque on his, I guess no longer his land, breaks the plaque, throws it on the ground, and walks away. So now we get back to Cookie and Damon, and she's confronting him, and she's like, you owe me answers. Pretty much, I guess, on the situation with Lucius and how the feds is looking for them. So we get to Devon and them performing, and Tiana, Portia, and Maya all there for support or whatever. And Portia's like, well, Maya, if you're Andre's assistant, how come you're here and you're not, taking orders from him? And she's like, well, he's with his very pregnant, beautiful wife, and he's handling that. I don't need to be up under him all day, every day. And Portia's like, well, when I was Cookie's assistant, I was with her 24/7, whatever. And Maya's like, well, it's different. Andre's not like his mother or his father. So now we get to Lucius and the new bitch, who we found out tonight, her name is Yana. I think I'm going to continue calling her new bitch because that's, like I said, Cookie give Lucius girls these nicknames and they just stick. So, she's, I think, calling, still trying to figure out the whole money situation. And he's calling Andre. While he's calling Andre is burying Mouse. And Lucius is like, well, you sound winded. And he's like, yeah, I'm just taking out the trash. I'm like, yeah, you are. The man you just killed, trash. Okay. So, when she gets out the car to go in, I guess, see about the money, Lucius calls Andre to find out about if Ray is really the person that has the money. So Andre confirms it. So now we get to Becky and Giselle, and Lala is still singing under her breath and whatnot, and they're just trying to figure out what they can do to get this girl to belt out these vocals like she does on her YouTube page. So Giselle is pretty much telling Becky, listen, we squandered all our money on this girl. We can't even afford to sign another artist, and this is what we got. She sounds like a mouse. She doesn't even sing. She doesn't sing loud, nothing. So Giselle pretty much tells Becky she's not phenomenal. Your phenom is not phenomenal. This was a fail or whatever, and we should just cut our losses. So Becky is like, no, I have faith in her. You didn't hear what I heard when I looked at her on YouTube. She has it. We just gotta pull it out of her. So Becky is like, you know what? I think I can get her to sing, belt out her vocals before breakfast. Becky has a plan. So now we get to Andre. He finally sees Terry laying there unresponsive or whatever. So he calls 911. And then when they're at the hospital, the doctor tells him that she has preeclampsia and that she's bleeding out a lot. And the only way to save her and the baby is to do an emergency C-section. But there's a possibility that either her or the baby will pass away. Like they pretty much are saying that they can't save both. He has to make a decision to save one or the other. So Quincy is like, listen, you cannot kill my mom. So Andre's like, listen, I'm your mom's husband. I love her dearly. I would never let anything happen to her, but I have the final say in what goes on as far as her and the baby goes. And he's like, you've only been her husband for 6 months. And he's like, but I've known you longer and I've known her longer, and I know that I love your mom, and I'm going to make the best decision possible to save them both. So Andre pretty much reassures Quincy they'll both be safe. I'm not going to let anything happen to either one of them. I'm going to make sure they're both safe. So we get back to Damon and Cookie, and Cookie is pretty much like she feels betrayed because of what Damon did as far as the whole feds go. And she's like, I'm trying to understand why you did me dirty. And he said, you know what? I told on Lucius. No, not this part. No, she's like, that she can't be a pawn. And he's like, well, he's pretty much like, he said that I told on Lucius to save you or whatever. And she's like, listen, I'm a queen, and a queen can never be a pawn. So now we get back to Lucius and Yana, new bitch. And they're talking about future plans and islands and stuff. And he's like, you know, when we get the island, it'll be like pretty much talking like how he runs Empire. And she's like, I don't want my island to be an empire. Empire's full. I want my island to be an island where you can be free or whatever. And I'm like, you must not know Lucius, okay? Lucius wants something that he can run, that's his, that he can be the top dog. So y'all got two different goals. So now we get to Andre, and he invited the pastor for support. And Andre is starting to lose his faith. He feels like God is pushing him or whatever. So the pastor's like, he's pushing you to see your full potential. He's not pushing you over the edge to see how far, you know, he'll go or whatever. So they start praying for Terry, and as they're praying, Andre is having flashbacks of killing Mouse. And Andre feels like because he did that to Mouse, that he has no luck. And he's like, you know, God can't help me. And he won't have faith in a God that pushes him rather than protects his family. So he tells the pastor, thank you for coming, but I got it from here. So now we get back to Lucius and Yana, and she goes to, she drops him off at the hotel, and she heads off to Uncle Ray's by herself. And he's like, well, why can't I come with you? And she's like, listen, nobody's allowed to go to Uncle Ray's, you know, but me, or something like that. Like, just, it's like off limits or whatever. So he gets out the car, and he goes to her side of the window, and he's like, I want to thank you. And she's like, for what? And he's like, for everything, you know. I feel free with you. I feel, you know, I'm happy. I'm glad I have someone like you in my life or whatever. But as he's saying this, he's putting a tracker on her car. So he goes into the hotel, goes on a laptop, and watches the tracker take it to wherever she's going to meet up with Ray. So now we get to Andre, and Andre makes a decision to save them both. And the doctor is like, listen, it's a lot of complications that could come with that. Like, you know, I can't guarantee. And he's like, listen, you will save the both of them. I don't care how much it costs. I don't care how many surgeons you have to get. You will save my wife and my baby. And the doctor pretty much looks scared. But I'm like, yeah, he did just kill a man. So you might want to do what the man is asking you to do. So now we get back to Damon and Cookie, and he finally admitted that he told the feds to free Cookie from Lucius, and he did it because Lucius doesn't deserve her. You know, pretty much Lucius has been wasting Cookie's life or whatever. And he said that he feels like Cookie deserves a real man and real love. I think that's what Cookie wants, because Cookie does feel like everything that she's done has been for Lucius, which is why she separated herself from Lucius to begin with. So now we get to Tiana, and she's on live at the after party, and then some people wrote on her live the comments. They were writing about Andre and Terry, because they found out about Terry and the baby. So Tiana is like, you know, my prayers are all the way up for Terry and Andre, you know, please pray for them, and I hope that they have a speedy recovery, blah blah blah. So Devon and her are talking, and they're discussing, he pretty much feels stagnant. He feels like all of his music sounds the same, and he wants to change or whatever. And she's like, listen, if you want to change, you know, you have to make that decision. He's like, but how would I look going to Andre asking him for the rights to my music? And she's like, listen, it's your music, right? Your music, your career. You know, let's change the music. So she's like, let's go to Studio 3 and work on changing the music. So now we get to Portia, Giselle, and Becky, and they're at this place doing karaoke, and Becky is like, listen, karaoke and tequila, it'll work. We get her some drinks or whatever, and she'll be able to belt out some tunes. So they're praying that it works, and the girl there, I guess who's the owner, she's telling her, listen, y'all want her to sing I'm Every Woman. That's not in her vocal range. She needs to sing something that's in her vocal range and that works for her. So Becky is like, but aren't I the one that should make that decision? She's like, listen, even though you may think that she's a baby shocker, she's not a baby shocker. It's not working for her. She needs a song that's in her vocal range, and because I own the place, I tell her what to sing. So she was like, I'll let her know when it's time to go up. And I'm like, that could be it. That's probably why she's too shy to sing, because y'all got her singing out of range. So now we get to Andre, and they're doing an emergency C-section on Terry, and he sees the baby. The baby's not screaming, crying, nothing. So the baby's not breathing. So they're telling him, Mr. Lion, you gotta leave the room. And he's like, no, I don't want to leave my wife and my child. So they're trying to resuscitate Terry. They're trying to get the baby to breathe. I think they put him in an incubator or whatever with oxygen. So he leaves the room. They find out that Terry is hemorrhaging. And then Andre is sitting there like defeated. And Quincy is upset. Like, if you let my mom die, this is all on you. So Andre is just like, he doesn't know what to do, how to feel, nothing. So now we get back to Damon and Cookie, and I guess I want to say that she put something in his drink. I didn't catch that part if she did, but like a sleeping pill or something. But he's asleep. She unlocks his phone with his face recognition and takes a pic of like a receipt that says something about like money. I guess that's money. I want to assume that that's money that the feds is giving him for giving up Lucius or whatever. So then, because I guess her phone was off, she sees text from Andre about Terry being in the hospital or whatever. So she took the picture of the slip, and then she left to go be in the hospital. So now we get back to Lucius and New Bitch, and he's telling her that he feels free with her, and that she's like, you told me about your beautiful family or whatever, but you're leaving. He's like, I just feel like I should leave them all behind or whatever. So she's like, listen, when I was on the bed and they told me about my cancer or whatever, that wasn't the end of my story, and this isn't the end of your story. So we could write a whole new story with new chapters. And I'm just sitting here like, Lucius is using you, boo. He's using you. He may care about you in a sense, but he's using you to get what he wants. But you'll find that out the hard way. So now we get back to Lala, and they're at karaoke, and the owner gives her reassurance, and she's like, listen, sing from your diaphragm, sing from your heart, and you should be able to just, because it's in your vocal range, you should be able to be smooth with it or whatever. So she was like, sing from your heart, not your head. So the song that she has her sing is Sweet Thing, and she knocked it out the park. And then Giselle was like, I could deal with that, and Becky was like, we could make money off of that, but I think Becky might, I think they're going to keep Lala, but they might probably bring on the owner as like a manager or something, because she was really good at directing and helping Lala to bring that out of her. So I think Becky might bring her on to their record label as well. So we get back to Tiana and Devon, and Tiana's like, she noticed that he has no passion when he sings or whatever, and he's like, listen, I haven't felt inspired since we stopped talking or whatever. So they make out in the studio or whatever, which that kind of caught me off guard, because I'm like, okay, I know her and Hakeem have not been together in a minute, but aren't they still married? Like, did I miss something on that part? Aren't they still married? Did they divorce? Who got the kids? I feel like I'm missing a lot. So we get back to Andre, and he's in the hospital. He's pissed, and he sees like scissors and like a scalpel knife, it looks like. So he's at the window, and he's pretty much looking up to the sky like, what do you want from me? So he's like, listen, this is what you want? You want sacrifice? So he rips his shirt open, and he's like, listen, take me to spare Terry and my baby. I want them to live. So Cookie comes in just in time and sees what he's doing, and she stops him. And she's like, why are you doing this? Like, what is wrong? He's like, Mom, I'm just tired. I don't know if the baby will make it. I don't know if Terry will make it. God does not want to help me. I think I can't, I can't bargain with God. So, no, he feels like he should bargain with God. And she's like, no, you're not that important to bargain with God or whatever. That's not how it works. It's not a tit for tat thing. So he confesses that he killed Mouse. And she's like, well, why did you do it? And he's like, because he threatened my family. And she's like, well, then you had no choice but to do what you had to do for a person that was threatening your family. You can't feel guilty about that. So, like she said, bargaining with God doesn't make a difference. And he pretty much just breaks down at that point. But she's like, there's no punishment for protecting your family. So poor Andre, like, I just feel like he has no luck with this. Because it's like, dang, like Rhonda and, his first wife and his first baby passed away. So, I know this is like sensitive for him. With him having a wife and a baby and they're not doing, like, it's a lot. So now Lucius is back at the hotel and he's leaving. He left a note to Yana or whatever, and he leaves the hotel while she's asleep. So we get back to Tiana and Devon, and they're like finished having sex in the studio or whatever, and he's like, I feel fulfilled, I feel inspired, and I got it, So he goes in the studio and he records. And as they're recording, they're, making out and flirting and touching on each other. They're butt naked in the studio. So as he's singing, Tiana goes down on him. And I'm like, oh, y'all nasty. Y'all nasty. It was a cute little scene, though. But I'm like, y'all bucky naked in the studio. All right. Nasty. So now we get back to Andre. The baby is doing well. The baby's in the incubator. And he's like, fight, son. Well, no, the baby isn't doing well yet. The baby is in the incubator. And he's like, fight, son. And then he kneels down to pray. And he's like, listen, I leave the life of my son and my wife in your hands. I intend to sin no more. Whatever, whatever. So Cookie comes in and tells him that it's Terry. He goes to see Terry. Terry is awake. The doctor comes in and is like, the baby is doing well. Terry is doing well, although she lost a lot of blood. But they're both stable. The baby is breathing on his own. All is well at this point. Now we get to Lucius and Ray, and he confronts him. And Lucius said that he knows that he stalled for Yana or whatever. So he was asking how long will it take for Damon to get where they are. And he's like, it'll take about an hour. And he's like, well, you have a decision to make in an hour or less. If you don't give me the laptop, I'm going to kill you. Where's the safe? So I guess he eventually tells him where the safe is. We get back to Yana at the hotel. She wakes up and notices that Lucius is gone, but reads the note that he wrote. I didn't get to really see what was on the note. So Damon does arrive, like I guess after Lucius left or whatever, and he goes to the safe. It's a tape recording that says play me. He pressed play. It's Lucius' song Snitch Bitch playing. So that means Lucius knows that Damon, well, he been knew that Damon had ratted him out to the feds or whatever, but he knows that Lucius now has the money. So, now we get back to Andre, and Andre's talking to the baby, and he's like, God answered my prayers. I'm so glad that you're doing well. I intend to make good on my promise of what I said to God. And then we see Kingsley appear. Remember, Andre has Kingsley's heart, so I guess part of that is going to be like hallucinations or whatever. So Kingsley arrives and pretty much takes credit for saving the family, and he's like, I answered your prayer. God didn't. I answered your prayers, and you owe me gratitude. You pretty much owe me your life for saving your family. And I'm like, damn, Kingsley, even in death you annoying, bro. So now we get to Cookie, and Damon is in Cookie's house, and he's like, you owe me. You owe me. Now you gonna tell me what's going on. Now you gonna tell me where Lucius is, because you owe me, bitch. First of all, Cookie and her prison braids, because she didn't have a wig on. Cookie and her prison braids, I cannot. So it pretty much ended there. So I think that this season is just going to end with like vengeance, because clearly somebody is going to kill Lucius. That's what it keeps showing at the beginning of the thing. It shows 9 months from now, and then it shows present day. So in the end, Lucius is going to get killed. We just don't know who's going to kill him. And he has so many enemies. Beretti is one. Damon is another. Frida Gatz is another. So out of those three could possibly be who kills him. But y'all let me know how y'all felt about this episode. Like I said, this episode was all over the place, but it was okay nonetheless. Let me know how you felt about it. Leave comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. And don't forget to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend about T-shirt on the tube. T-shirt on the tube. T-shirt on the tube. T-shirt on the tube. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Later.